All right, we have a quorum, so I'd like to call the meeting to order at 5:33. We do not have a flag, so we are going to not do the Pledge of Allegiance since we don't have a flag. We need to approve two sets of minutes, one for our November 14th and one for our November 18th. We've all received those via email. Can someone are there any discussions, any changes that you all saw that you didn't email about? All right, so who would like to motion for November 14th? Bill motions, can I have a second?
Second.
Mandy seconds, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, November 18th minutes.
I will make a motion to approve the 18th minute.
Thank you, Dave. May I have a second?
Second.
Bill will second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, update out on outstanding projects. So Scott sent his report. Scott, I think you have a little bit to share with us as of today on the ag and markets.
Nothing like today, went through the application, the questions, took some questions home with them to give me some additional feedback. There's a few questions that were like, the 5-year projected budget plan, redevelop for me. Moving on with it, will be done before the December 20th deadline. Our approval in the SRF is still pending. They've got everything in this, like said, it takes them 2 weeks from when they have everything, and this
So we should-
is like 2 weeks from when I gave them everything. So there tomorrow, hopefully they'll approve it, but I did let her know that the grant was due the 20th, and she said we should be fine to get everything in by that.
So great.
So,
Scott, being that they were asking for a 5-year budget and we obviously were outside the question window, do we believe, and I know this would be an assumption, do we believe that there will be a 5-year agreement that they need to sign because they have to do a 5-year
one of the
budget?
questions says that, like,
Yeah.
as I got further into the questions, there's a question of how you're gonna plan your 5 years of this program.
Okay, all right, so in the item that we wanted to create with an attorney, which I'm not gonna do till January anyway.
Yeah.
So that we're, make sure we're
Let's make sure
in,
this is going.
before we spend any money on that. I'll bring it back around for wording. I mean, we sort of agreed that we were going to do that we were gonna have our own agreement with them. But I think we might modify it once we know a little more. Is that, everybody good with that? Okay.
And he's been good about getting me information and helping me with the questions and.
Good.
So I feeling for how he'll feel like 5 years?
Well,
Do you have a feeling for how they'll feel about the 5-year requirement?
he seemed okay with it. We talked about
Okay,
it today. We talked about, he asked me like, he said it's gonna be hard to show projection, like revenue and things like that. And I said, I understand that. I said, what's more important to me is I think it's more important to show the reduction in your expenditures, because that's the purpose of what we're doing. Like I'm like, give me your National Grid bills, what they are now, and take the reduction in your cost, and let's show what you're gonna save, not really so much on your, what you're gonna increase in your revenues, but let's just show what we're gonna reduce in your costs, because that's kind of how we're pitching it.
Mhm.
That you're
Makes
reducing your
sense.
footprint and trying to save money to make it more profitable.
If it's a 5-year commitment, does it take that long to get the money reimbursed?
No,
Okay.
no, you get reimbursed as soon as.
Submit the paperwork.
I've never worked with Ags and Market, but normally it's when you submit the paid receipt.
Okay.
It's a reimbursable program, so he's gonna have to do the work, he's gonna have to put the money up front, and then when he gets the receipts, you get reimbursed.
Can he do that? Is he?
He's aware that he has to do
Okay.
that, so. Whether he can or not,
Yeah, but
he's aware that's the
Okay.
program.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, Scott.
I think there might have been a part of it that said that they would give you 25% upfront and then the rest as reimbursement.
Could be. I mean, and there's the 10% from us as well, so I'm not sure how that all adds up together. I think that's gonna be something as we start to see the grant agreement.
And I think how that will work is he's gonna have to spend the whole 300,000, and then you're gonna get back 270,
Mhm.
not pay 30, and then,
Right.
then you pay off wherever he's using that money from to get the
Yeah.
270. So your 30 is gonna have to go in to pay his bills.
Right.
Assuming, and then they'll just reimburse you back 90% of whatever he spends.
And I think what we'll have to see is that 30K, right, we can get that 30K at any point, once the grant is awarded. So we as a committee would have to decide, do we want to try to put that as part of it upfront, you know, because he's not gonna get reimbursed.
And I think that would be based on how the agreement is. If you can submit throughout the project, it might be good to get the 3 up front, and then you can spend 30 and submit to get the 27,000 back,
Mhm.
and then, you know, keep
Now he's
reusing
rolling,
that.
yeah.
Or if it's just like some programs allow you to submit throughout the project, some allow you to submit quarterly, and some allow you to do, like the restore, you gotta do the whole $1 million worth of work to submit. So I think, because I've never worked with Ag and Market, I don't know how their grant agreements are.
Will we be able to find that out before we finalize our agreement with Mike?
Probably, I could look into it more. Like she said, we missed the question
I know.
deadline, so I couldn't ask questions. But I
Does
think
that-
once we submit once the applications are done, they can answer questions again.
Okay.
They're just blacked out from the time question period is over to the time you submit grants. They can't accept or answer questions because it's not fair to the other people, because
Right.
when you ask
Well,
questions.
not everyone who heard the same
Same
question,
answer.
got the same
Right,
answer.
so when they set a question deadline, they post every question and every answer on the website, so anybody can go see that this question was asked, here's the answer. So once that question deadline's over, they black out talking to you until.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah.
But we might wanna add that into what we have the lawyer draw up with Mike.
Yeah, well,
So
my,
that's
yeah,
why I was saying, like, if that piece of it, how the reimbursement is.
Yeah, we need to
So-
understand that and know how we're gonna.
Before we go to the lawyer.
yeah, that makes sense. That makes-
And then just the other thing, you didn't see my response to Mary's question, the town still is waiting for an answer to this point, but they did get a no. And they were told to submit a temporary fence, so they submitted the temporary fence to the state, and then the state approved that and sent it to federal parks. So we're still waiting for federal parks, but they got a no, and now it's a wait for another fence,
And it's only temporary.
and it's only temporary. And they denied the first fence that state parks wanted to put in.
So, did they give a reason they denied it?
Dan didn't tell me that. if they gave a
Okay,
reason or
I'll
not.
have to ask him, just because I'm on that board and people ask me.
Because it was what
Weekly.
state parks wanted, state parks said put it in there.
Yeah,
And state
yeah,
parks had
yeah.
already signed up, so.
So we put it in, they put it in?
No,
No,
there's
they
no
sent-
fence.
There's still not in.
No.
There's
we
no
sent
fence
that.
and it's actually been fine, like with 10,000 tourists coming in there this past season. There's been no fence.
I'm saying we put it in as we submitted it to the federal government because the state parks approved it. And the federal government said, no, even though state parks was okay with it. The federal parks bureau.
Yeah, the only other question that was kind of floating around in Scott's face, and hopefully you guys all saw it, was about Carlton Island. There is a communication form out there. Scott is being paid for by Ron Clapp, and the town is not on the hook for, is it a 10%?
They're on the hook for 10%, and Ron's already paid them in advance for the application fee and the advertisement that was in the paper. Ron paid the town, it's not gonna cost them a penny.
So has he done a new agreement for the 10% on this one?
And I'll explain this tonight. He don't need an agreement because in the application, he submits a letter committing to the 10%. So part of the application is somebody has to commit to the 10%. That commitment's coming from Ron. There's a letter from Ron that he is committing to the 10%. And the language says that the town can use private cash. And so his is the private cash. As part of the application, he will put in a letter that commits him to the 10%. He is committing to the 10% share. And then for the financials, I provide his financials that he has that 10% share. So I have either a line of credit in his name, or I provide his actual bank statements that he has
Some sort of proof.
proof that he has the 10% share. And that's part of the application. So he don't need a direct agreement with the town because he's making that agreement with the state that he's committing to the 10%.
Okay, because last time there was supposed to be a town and then.
Last time he committed to the 10% through a letter as well.
Okay.
I think where people are getting confused with the agreement is he has an agreement to pay for the zoning, planning, engineering,
Mhm.
and he has signed that and he has put a deposit down with his town attorney or whatever, but that's separate from this.
Yep.
That has nothing to do with the restore, and I think that's where some people are confusing it too.
So where I got and asked Dan, you know, I hear about this from the community, and then I have to go, I know I'm an LBC, but I don't know. So, so Scott, if you can help, because it's a new process.
I provided it to them, that's not.
No, I'm not blaming you.
No,
I'm
saying I knew
please.
you were gonna look for it, and I
Yeah.
completed it and helped
Well,
them fill it
but,
out.
and,
gave it
you
to
know, I'm
them.
gonna say the same
Where
to
it goes.
Pam, right? If there are grants being done in the community, whether we're using our planner or not, we all need to know about it, because otherwise we look dumb. And I don't think any of us wanna look dumb. So thank you for providing that, just
I
continue.
think I provided it to them before your 18th meeting, maybe.
Yeah, probably, yeah, anyway.
So,
Okay, good, thank you.
That's what we wanna hear, that's good.
Yes, thank you for doing that, thank you.
We
And,
can't make them sign it.
well, but also.
But I
you
knew
know,
she was
it's-
gonna ask for it. So
Yeah,
I figured
you
I'd
know,
go.
it's a new process, and new processes are hard for people to get, so we just need to keep beating the drum till everybody's like, oh, I gotta do that dang form. Okay, any questions for Scott other than that on his report? No, excellent, thanks, Scott, I have none other than what I emailed. Okay, there was an additional projects report, I don't know if you guys had a chance to look that over. Does anybody have any questions on any of that? There's a whole bunch of stuff that's very eminent in that, so you'll get a lot more in the January meeting, but questions, comments?
Just need to go buy an electric car.
There you go, there you go. Well, yeah, we got a lot of approvals to get through first, but I will be going to the meeting with Pam on the 10th, just because of the partnership on small projects. She and I will have a recommendation for the village board. We got 3 applications, one she and I felt was disqualified, just didn't have the right background for it. And of the other 2, she and I sort of circled our wagons on one of them. So we'll run that recommendation to the board. Economic development, Dave, did you want to talk? I don't, we've got it somewhere on here
New
probably.
business.
Yeah, new business, okay. So he's gonna talk about economic development, so this is the small projects, which is different. No questions?
I have one more thing.
Yes.
Grants. I'm gonna send the village and the town an outline and I'll copy the LDC board. The local government efficiency grant is available right now. It's due January 24th, I believe. And Dan and Paul sent it to me and asked if there was anything. So I took the webinar and I made like a bulleted outline. Share. I know we've applied in the past. Planning and we're going. That wasn't a priority.
Is there anything on our strategic plan that might come under that?
You have to consolidate a service or an operation, like.
So consolidating websites all into one? Maybe?
Cybersecurity is their number one. But I don't think it includes websites.
So when Scott sends that, guys, look at it with an eye on our strategic initiatives. Any place we can get grant money instead of having to try to do it out of our reduced budget would be a positive. So just eyeball it with that, if y'all could.
How big are these grants?
It's up to, you can have up to 3, you can have up to 3 municipalities or entities. And they get $225,000 per entity towards it. It's a 75%, 25%. So if the town and village did it, they could get like $450 towards an implementation. The planning grant's up to $100,000, but it's only $20,000 per, so it'd be $40,000 grant. And it's gotta be something new. It can't be something that they're already doing, like water, wastewater, because they already have town and village districts. You couldn't do something unless it was purchasing like a new piece of equipment, or like if the town and the village want to share a piece of equipment.
We're not an entity that is part of that can be part
It
of,
can be, yes. 501c3s are entities that can
we
be.
can be.
So would that help it if we did apply all 3 of those together?
If it was something that you're consolidating or cooperating with, that would be a savings. You get an extra $225,000 towards implementation of it.
Yeah. So for example, let me play this and see if it applies. So when you guys originally talked about a joint building, there was, discussion about there would be like a gym, you know, recreational facility. So if it had that kind of a footprint, we could play that it's an economic development for the community, right? It brings.
You could also play that your office will be in there, you're paying rent now, you're paying heat now, I know it's not much of a savings, but you could say that they're gonna give you an office in there, you know.
So yeah, so let's just look at, let's just be open to, is there possibilities there?
When is that?
January 24th.
We like to work under pressure, Dave. We don't like to be doing things like.
It was
where
just
we got
announced
time.
last week, so this takes me time.
They don't, it's ridiculous.
11 hours Monday.
Yes, and thank you for trying to get whatever you can
tried
on the
to get them.
websites.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get their hands out. and reach
Yeah,
out to 'em.
so that would go for Casey and Joe, because Joe said he would do any changes we needed to our website to comply with whatever the New York State rules are around that. And we'll do it for
We
free.
may be able to do something between the town and the village. See if you want to do like cybersecurity and internet, those type of things, and improve the website. I'll have to look into it further. There is a question period, we can still ask questions.
Yeah. well,
Fiber
I'm just-
optics might be a good thing, that will help draw people in
Yeah.
businesses into Cape if we have better connectivity.
Yeah, and cell service.
Right,
So-
yeah, like really, that would be a big one,
So,
and especially if cybersecurity, we could tie it into that. So if the town and village are all interested, that might be something, if you wanna mention that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'll share it with everybody and mention a couple of things.
Yeah,
that I
good. Well, and
thought
like
would
we
work.
said, if everybody eyeballs our strategic plan and think broadly.
I think that was on our strategic plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was, it
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Mayor, just make sure, so you talked to Joe, and you're talking about the website. Did the conversation come up about the video recordings? Accessible with the sign language and the subtitling, so again, was it just the website?
We just talked about their website.
Okay, all right.
Because, so we put the videos up on YouTube.
And that might be something I can do on YouTube. I just gotta look at the there are different settings you can put on the
Because I
video,
know
so.
that some recordings, like I know if we use Microsoft Teams, it automatically does a transcription.
Okay.
So that, yeah, can you look into that, Casey,
Yep.
and let us know?
Yep.
Because we just post them on YouTube.
Okay.
Is where we put them.
All right.
Okay, over to Ms. Carroll.
Okay, so, for bills, we're paying WCP consultants, 1406.25. Zoom renewal came in 159.90. I've got that on my list, it's for a year and it automatically renewed, pretty sure there's tax on it, pretty sure there's probably a lower rate available. So at some point I'll see if I can change that. New York State Charities Bureau, our New York State Charities return, which is in addition to our tax return, has been filed, and that was $75. We got toner and business card stock, I assume that's stock you're gonna make business cards out of?
Yes.
Yeah, 108.68, rent 150, MRV 223.75, that was to finalize the parish budget in Paris. Mary was reimbursed for the Binational Tourism Summit for $339.33. And we reimbursed the town for admin payroll of $180.24. And that totals $26.43.15 that we, some are ACHs and some are checks sitting here tonight. And, our financial position is bank accounts total, $177,222. So, and again, we spend, $3,000 a month, basically what it comes down to at this point. So when we're ready to address the project, we can do that, which is good.
The charities bureau report, I like the chart 500.
Yes, it is.
Is it saved in there? Cause I'll send it to SFS, cause they'll want it if the other ones are expired. Is it saved in?
Yeah, it's in our shared folders.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's clearly marked, so I think you'll be able to find it, but give me a shout if you can't find
Okay,
it.
I'll have to forward it to them in advance, because if the other one was due, they're gonna say, well,
Yeah.
where are your new one?
Yeah, 'cause-
Okay, so, and our regular return was also filed, so they're both filed. And I did get an email from, the accountants the other day, which said they thought that they contacted the IRS and they said the clock is a 365-day clock and he thinks it ticks till December 25th. And that's like their outside limits, so to change us from the one category to another, which really doesn't matter that much because,
Other than with North Country Community
Exactly.
Foundation.
right.
Yeah.
Right, they just have their own rule,
Mhm.
yes, so, but anyways, so that's moving along as slow as it can.
Okay, we need a motion for Carol to pay the bills.
I'll make that motion.
Pam, and second, Mandy, all in favor?
Aye.
Done. All right,
Sneak out, okay, but-
yeah, no, thank you, I think we're good,
What
Scott.
time
thank
is
you.
that here in start?
We'll see you in 30
6:30.
minutes.
We're gonna be done by 6:15.
I'll ask me to go open up and set up so he can go to this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get them.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Have a good
See
day.
ya. Hey, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yes, Merry
We'll be
Christmas.
talking, I'm sure.
I'll see you right up the street.
All right, Dave, anything from finance? Governance?
So just one thing, so we did the review, as you all know, discussed it, sent back out the 4 items. And then there was only 2 questions. One was about the self-audit piece of it, which was explained, so really no change to that. And then just one update to the self-assessment form, which is just creating a remarks box at the very bottom for anything that's not fit in the other one. So that is in the file. But other than that, we're good to go. So unless anyone has any the thing to change on it, they are good for our January meeting to pass all the charters, policy letters, bylaws, et cetera, et cetera.
I would just like to commend the governance team. You guys did an amazing
Yeah, I
job
agree.
going through all of that. So thank you all who are part of
Yes.
that. I really appreciate it.
I have a question that might be related, the form that we use for the grants, like this.
The Commons form,
Yeah,
yeah.
is that the new form, the old form, did we look at changing that?
There was a change. Bill changed it. What I sent them, I believe was, I hope it's the new one.
Yeah, so.
I just lost track of where that
Yeah.
stands.
So basically what it was 2 meetings ago, it was trying to simplify it in lines with the Clayton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, is what it was?
Yeah.
And so combined it, sent it back out, everybody's good with it, and then there was just, do we have the symbol, not symbol, because it's hard to edit. And then I made, 4 different versions of it, but basically took the symbol and shoved it to the back, so you can just easily change whatever it is in the Word document, and then that's where we left it.
So we think we're using that now.
Yeah, that was
All right. that's
appeared to be
what I wanted
the most current one,
Mhm.
yeah. Unfortunately, Scott left before he gave us a report on Club Street. So I guess we'll say no report for that and no report on town activities. Pam, over to you.
Like Mary said earlier, at our next village board meeting on Tuesday, we'll be looking at the consultants for the small business fund from year forward, making a recommendation, and then the EV chargers, reviewing the contract that the contractor sent to the village, because the village will be the administrator, and making sure our board can meet the terms and requirements. Club Street, the PAC is going to meet soon.
What is the path?
The PAC is the Project Advisory Committee.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
We're trying to set up a meeting for December 12th, just to review some things, as there's been some concern from the condominium, people that live in the condominiums to the left, or the west of the new dockage. So. we'll be
Is that
reviewing
across the
marina-
road?
Yes.
So behind the customs office,
Yes.
the other side of that?
And the town has sort of finalized their conception drawings, which are supposed to be at 30% complete, but we're just getting to look at them now, so we'll see how. They've already submitted DEC permits, which I guess they can change things if they need to. Hopefully it'll be fine.
Is the communication flowing the way it should, or is it not? It doesn't quite sound like it is.
It's still like that, but it's
Well, it'll be good if the advisory committee gets back together. I think
Yes.
that'll be helpful.
there
And
seems
who
to
was
be
on
interest. Mike Shavasty, Nicole Parator, Joe Beth and Ray Stone.
Is Christine Stark still the chair?
No, she was asked to not partake by the town.
Okay.
not fired, asked to resign. So now there's no chair. And the aggravating part is that the Department of State, it's a requirement in the contract, but they're really not supporting the existence of the
Advisory.
I mean, they do to a degree, but I think if they're gonna spell it out and say this group should be meeting and having real-time input, then they should support that and make sure it happens.
And that's part of the,
That's part of it, that specific LWRP grant process. They say in the beginning, you have the project advisory committee gets formed and they're supposed to get information in real time so they can comment as it moves along. But what's happening is, well, the design is done and now we can comment, but there was no input. So if they do have to rework it, and at this point, we could have the state say, wow, these were valid points, you're just gonna slow things down.
And it's gonna cost more money.
And cost more money, right? If there is a redesign, so if they would just stick to the process. Right, doesn't seem that
When you say they, you're talking about the town.
the town.
Okay, I just wanna make
Yeah.
sure, so, okay.
It's been a big learning. If we ever do a joint project again, it will have to be under entirely different
Rules of engagement.
rules of engagement, yes.
And let's see, I'm trying to think, there's nothing else. Are you guys still waiting for payment on Easton Park?
The check has not arrived, but it's been cut. It's
The
already-
check's in the mail,
The
oh
the check
wow.
is in the mail, yeah.
That's the final piece,
It
right?
is.
That's great, that is great. All right, thank you, Pam. Mandy, childcare, any updates?
Yeah, Stacy said that they reviewed they reviewed all of the grants. The administrator says it looks great and they're waiting for their attorney, not Stacy's, the grant administrator attorney to finalize everything. She still has not gotten any paperwork to move forward yet.
Okay, but some movement sounds.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
She's
good.
in contact. So.
Which department is her grant from?
Oh, that's a great question.
But it's New York State.
It's New York State,
Right,
yeah.
so, okay, we'll know how fast it will.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I don't have anything for the chamber, they had a working session last month, but this month they have a meeting, and I may be able to, Zoom in, but if anyone's around and wants to attend, let me know.
what's the date?
It's Monday the 16th, 6:30.
And
6
Oh,
o'clock,
I am
sorry,
back,
6 o'clock.
so.
Kenzie has a volleyball game, and we should be driving home by then, maybe, so, but.
Yeah. Well, it'd be better if we could get somebody to go.
That's okay. I'll let them know too, but
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great if somebody could. I attended the last one. Nicole was supposed to be here tonight in Lori's stead, because Lori Moss couldn't make it. I gave them all the information, but no one's here.
She's probably at the rec park.
Yeah, probably. Well, yeah, it was clear, the location was clear in the meeting notice, yes. Anyway, but she was zooming in, so location doesn't matter.
Where are the chamber meetings held, at the chamber?
no, Rec Park.
At Rec Park?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I won't know, I'm in Florida and I'm coming home on Monday. But, so I'll just touch base if I can and see if he still needs to.
No, I'll take it with my account.
Okay, that's fine, and like I should be able to at least zoom in and not far right home, so. It's Beaver River, I have plenty of time.
All righty, okay, moving right on. We're doing okay, we're gonna get you out of here. Vacant board seat, I sent an email on that, I consulted with our chair of governance. I said, no, what can I do with this one? So unless anybody had any issues, we decided in the executive session, my plan is to email both parties, tell one they got it, tell the other one they didn't get it. Thank you for your interest, we'll have other openings, please consider applying again. And then I will get with assuming I will get a yes from the candidate we've selected to make sure that the yes is accepted. And then I will do the onboarding that I've done with other people, add them to Google Drive, take them through all the stuff.
And it includes having to do that training that we all have to do?
Right, so I've got a reminder on my calendar because we went through who had to do it when. So in January, we will all, I know who's gotta do it when, because you gotta do it every 3 years.
Okay.
And so I think some of us, I think probably Carol, you, me, maybe Mandy, whoever's done at the end of 25, I think we're all due for a refresh. But I've got it, there is a spreadsheet in the Google Drive that says ABO training.
Okay.
And I have a reminder on my calendar that said, check the spreadsheet on ABO training in January, so.
Pretty efficient.
Well, otherwise I can't remember anything.
Sounds like Carol really wants to take this training.
Yeah, Carol can't wait, really, you know.
Well, I just thought it was looming.
And you know, and it's one of those things that having, and Mandy would be the same, if you've done adult learning, watching New York State's training is really painful.
It's right up there with the federal government training. so.
Is it, yeah, right there? Okay, good. All right, any discussion on the vacant seat? Everybody's good with me with the plan of record? Okay, super. All right, Dave, over to you.
Okay, so I sent out before the meeting, or on Monday, I sent out a list of the 8 criteria that the team came up with. I'm just gonna go over them real quick, and then I'm gonna ask 3 things. Number 1, are there any issues with these? Any input? Number 2, if there's any additional things that we missed from the group? And number 3, should any of the criteria that we're talking about be weighted more heavily than the others? So the first one is a requirement for 2 endorsements, so that we, though they may have years of experience, we want positive endorsements that say they actually did a good job, just not have done it. The second one is being the number of years of experience in the firm. So obviously the more is better. Number 3 is the cost for the project itself. Less is better, but that's going to be relative. I think that's one of those things that we'll put in there, but we'll probably weight it like half, just because each one produces a different amount of items. Number 4 was the amount of time to complete the project. So we're saying less is better, measured number of weeks. Number 5 was the amount of community engagement. And then to measure that, it's how many actual people in the community and how much time they're spending here. I'm sorry, how many people in the community are actually directly engaging. So not research on the internet, not research in the county, but actual talking to Cape residents.
There's on-site hours kind of deal.
Well, different, so they can do phone calls, and they can
Okay,
do
okay.
email surveys, whatever they're doing, but as long as they're actually addressing a real human being and not using existing stuff, I think the more we can talk to the real people, the better. Number 6 is the actual on-site versus virtual work. So the more time they spend in the community, obviously, the better they're gonna get a feel for the actual area and not just what they see on the internet. Number 7 is the quantity of deliverables. So that's the number of products they produce that we can use for our means in the future. That's whether it's for grants, whether it's for briefing the community, you know, anything that actually produces something tangible we can use. And then the last one, number 8, is management oversight for the team from us. So measuring the number of hours we have to spend basically either checking their work or doing things for them as part of this. Obviously, the less is better. So, you know, I know, hopefully everybody got a chance to think about this a little bit. Are there any of those that really don't make any sense, or, you know, that we don't need to have in there?
I thought they all made sense. I just know that at least on the small project fund, I've had trouble getting people to call you back. So the 2 references, I think you just have to take that into account, that, you know, there may be, and I mean, this person had a lot of references that I was trying to chase down. The one I got was so glowing, it was it was like amazing. But I'm having trouble getting some of the other folks to call me back. So just think about that. I mean, how you weight it in your scoring matrix. I don't know that should be a ding against the participant if you can't get people that they work for to call you back.
Okay.
If they've listed them as a reference, typically you would have contacted that person and said, do you mind using this as a reference?
Yeah, and I think it just could be the level of people they're dealing with and how busy they are. I mean, it's just a matter, like, they might call me back or email me back 3 weeks from now, but we gotta make a decision by the 15th. Yeah.
Would it be helpful to give them a form that they fill out? Like, if I'm a reference for somebody, they send me a form and I
Yeah.
fill it out. We could create that form. I don't know, I've done that before and I was like, this is a lot better than talking to somebody.
Yeah,
I
that's not a
thought,
bad idea.
We've only got like four, I think.
Yeah, thinking of for.
Companies that we would have to do this with, and my thought, and Jim, maybe weigh in here, but we actually can look at the projects they've done in the past and contact those municipalities instead of.
Yeah, I think that's an easy way of doing it, because a clerk, a town clerk is usually the conduit to everything. I know it is when we do things, when we've done projects before. It's funny, you almost never get a hard positive or a hard negative from a clerk, but you can tell sometimes by the words they use whether this person's a good person or a bad person, meaning the project. You just can tell. And then from there, from that, you sometimes go work harder at getting the references that they actually put on there. That's been my experience. It's like a canary in a coal mine. The clerks in towns, they know everything, and they know whether it's thumbs up or thumbs down. They're just careful on how they say it, but when you hear it enough, you go, we better check those two references out.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think for this, we use the other criteria as the voting criteria, and this one does remain as a go, no go. While we're doing the voting on the 7, we can check out and make sure that these other towns haven't had bad experiences with them. And then if they have, we can cut them off. And if they haven't, then we just continue to do the voting.
I think timeliness will be important to ask the clerk or whoever we get a hold of,
Okay.
because I just feel like that's something that we need to make sure we're not sitting on this for a year. Or,
Yeah. That's good.
what their turnaround time was.
Okay.
How soon they can engage and.
Well, even
Time.
what the expectations of the town or village that they did this study for, and where they on their time marks.
Yeah, I think that's, because they're
That's
gonna
what
say
I'm
it's,
saying.
they're gonna
Yeah,
have
that's
it
good.
back to us in
That's
10 weeks, and the question for the town is, did they actually have it back, or was it 6 weeks late?
Yeah.
Good point. Okay.
Okay.
And then the second one, any additional criteria we need to weigh here?
I thought
you did a really
good
good
job.
job.
I thought it was a really good job. You guys did a good job.
And the last thing is, of the 7 that we're talking about here, I already mentioned the cost being way less than the others, or anything else that is more important that we need to consider?
I thought it was very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The way ahead then on this is, I'm gonna put this into a form. We've got 2 options. Either the whole board can fill out the form based on the 4, or Jim, Bill, and I can go ahead and fill it out based on what we've already looked at, what we signed up for, and then provide our synopsis at the
Right.
end of, what we think is the best recommendation to the board next month. And then that would be the decision point.
So how do people feel about that? I'm down with that. Yeah.
Done with which, though? Do you want
No.
Yeah, smaller
The 3 of
committee,
us?
smaller
Okay.
committee.
Jim, you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have that done this week, and I'll get it out to you, Bill, and we'll fill it out.
If there's any really close, and need help with tiebreakers, bring them back to the board. I think it's good too.
Yeah,
Good idea. Okay,
right. But if you guys have a clear,
Right.
wow, this one head and shoulders above everybody else, we're probably gonna go with it.
sounds good. All right, that's it.
Okay, so I only have one other thing, well, kind of almost 2, that I'd like to add that are not on the agenda. Today is Jeannie's last meeting. And I would like to thank her for her hard work, her commitment. And just so you know, we could still tap you for special projects.
And you're
I would,
welcome in any meetings.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, when I'm back in the summer months, there might be some things I can help you guys with, but it's just my workload in my employment is just quadrupled.
Ooh.
And it's just really difficult right now. So we are I took on this employment opportunity with a company that's doubling or tripling their size. So lots and lots of extra hours have to go into that. And I'm always very attentive my time that I can invest. And unfortunately, I let my husband retire and he expects me to do things with him. So, things have to give. But I really encourage you guys, if there's anything I can bring value to, I'm so, I'm committed to Cape and the development of the community. And I think our strategic plan we did and the things that you guys are moving forward with are exciting. So hopefully as the summer months, when I get back, I'll definitely plug back in and see if I can be supportive.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Well, we will
Thank
miss you
you.
in the interim.
We
So
will.
good luck with all of that hiring.
Yeah,
Have a nice warm winter.
Yes, yes.
thanks. It was a little chilly here. I'm not going to tell you, it's in the 60s and 39.
Poor baby.
39 in the morning, which is not good for a Floridian, but we're warming back up. So, and I heard, Carol, you're headed down here, so
Yeah, on Sunday.
hopefully the weather will be good for you, but it is nice to watch snow from our TV.
There you go, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you again for
Okay.
all you've done, really appreciate it. The only other thing I have is Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everybody. It's been a great year and I'm looking forward to 2025.
I
So,
think we've accomplished, I think our
Things
board.
are definitely rolling.
Yeah.
I think so, I think
Yeah.
so too, I really do. All right, well, if I can have a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
6:15, I got a motion, and
I'll
I need,
second.
and Dave is seconding, all in favor?
Bye.
Aye, thanks, guys.
Thanks, bye.
Very good.
Merry Christmas.
So tomorrow's not always at 8:30. Is town, is it the town